description. Bobby, what happened?
Oof, meltdown. One of their classic collapses from earlier in the year there in the fourth quarter. But I can't get off of the final play because I know you texted, you saw it coming, John, on that play. I did too.
The
'Cause
the
it happened,
rebound?
it happened earlier in the game. Brooke Lopez got his hand on one, tipped out to Holiday early in the third. That caught the Bucks within 3 at the time.
That resulted in
And
a 3. Yeah.
yeah, and the same thing happened. And it looked like Ime called the timeout. I wasn't in with Ime the way it was, but it looked like he called the timeout before the free throws to prep the Celtics for that kind of play. Because Bucks do this. This was like one of their quintessential plays of their run last year. Is Giannis misses a free throw, everybody's ready to squeeze their way in there and get a hand on it.
Bobby, are you in a bathroom?
Well, we're in the bowels here, but
Okay.
You're in the bowels, all right. Jeez,
yeah, we're in the bowels, all right.
Sounds like you're sitting on the toilet as we speak, actually.
But this is what they do, and it felt like Udoka was so mad after that Rook one that the Celtics looked at it because it happened late in Game 4 too. Giannis has missed a lot more free throws in this series, and it looked like the Bucks were starting to get back into that mode of, all right, if one goes out the room here, we're gonna get it. And I guarantee you, Udoka showed the one from Game 4 after that game, and the Celtics weren't ready for it here in this one. And a lot of other stuff happened, but I'm so stuck on that play because if you rebound that miss, you win this game effectively, unless something crazy happens
I mean,
after
it
that.
changes everything, and right, and all of that stuff happens. It's stunning to me. It's like, my God, just don't run into each other. Like, I mean, I don't know that, like, this wasn't a case of not boxing out. It was two guys being aggressive, going for the ball. They just smacked into one another. It's just bad execution. But they both went hard for the ball. Just
And are they a little
horrible.
tense after talking about it so much? Maybe.
Marcus Smart on the block by Jrue Holiday. He says he didn't see him. The play was
clearly did not see him. He thought he had a clear path on that one, and Holiday came out of nowhere.
He did have a clear path for a second after the inbound, but he goes, the play was actually that JT was supposed to come up and get it, and everybody was sorry. The play was actually that JT was supposed to come up and get it, and everybody was standing around, and we had no timeouts, and the 5-second count was underway. And Jrue made a great play. So I don't know if Tatum screwed that up, because I know right when Smart got blocked, and I said this when I was just talking into space, right when Smart got blocked, look, there was some confusion after that whole thing. He pointed at something, and maybe he was pointing at Jason Tatum saying, you know, why didn't you come get the ball? I don't know what it was, but it definitely didn't look like Smart was supposed to get that inbound.
Well, that looked like he was just being an opportunist. I think he got it and was like, I think I've got a lane here, and just
but he wasn't supposed to get
it. There's no way that was the play. That wasn't drawn.
It was shocking to see it. Yeah, it didn't feel like that was the play at all.
There's no way that was the play. I think he got it, and he's like, I might be alone here, and he just went for went towards the basket, and Holiday kind of came up in his blind spot and just took,
Well, that's why you wouldn't want to do that.
Right.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to do that because Holiday's in the vicinity and he recovered quick.
No, I think he thought like they quick pitched him. You know, they just weren't ready for it. You know, they weren't ready for him to make an offensive move there. And I think he's like, I might have a layup here. And he just, you know, that's what happened.
Yeah, tough finish for him. They had another shot crossing half court, and he got swarmed and lost the ball on the next play. And it was a sloppy night for the Celtics again. The turnovers started cutting.
But Marcus did throw people under the bus in that Jimmy soundbite there. That's
why I read it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everybody was standing around, you know?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I got to go back again. I have to go back and watch it, but I'm sure he's right.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's right. That's it. I mean,
frustrating lack of execution as a whole down the stretch. We haven't seen that from this team in a long time. And again, they're lucky to get out of Game 4 with a win. The series could be over tonight, and here it is. I guess this is what everyone's waiting for. This series is over. Giannis stole it from you.
You're calling it over?
Yep. This is my fear coming in, that Giannis is going to be too good, too opportunistic, too experienced in these moments, and too hard playing of a player to go down without a fight. And again, you said in this one, almost a reflection of what the Celtics did in Game 4. Celtics Bucks down 11 with a minute left to go in the third. You point out Jimmy 14 early in the fourth, and they just piled up stops, made plays in transition the other way, got offensive rebounds, which is really the story of this game, that offensive rebounding by the Bucks there.
Box out.
Celtics' lack of defensive rebounding. So that was a problem in Milwaukee too. It didn't hurt them, but now you're seeing that come into play. But some more Bucks are coming to the podium. Joe Sway's coming back
Bobby,
from the Celtics
hold
presser.
on one second. Are you leaving?
Yeah, I'll take one more thing.
You're kind of the Celtics out, but wouldn't you also say the Celtics kind of beat themselves tonight? Why are you giving Giannis all this credit? I think the Celtics kind of beat themselves down the stretch here. I'm not going to say
You hit
Giannis put the team on his back and like willed the Bucks to victory here. I mean, he missed a freaking free throw, and the Celtics didn't box out. I mean, why are we giving Giannis credit for that?
It's a little bit of both for sure. I think the bigger story is probably the Celtics' lack of execution. But Giannis putting his head down, forcing them in those mistakes, drawing those free throws in that spot, going after Grant, finding mismatches, hitting a huge three after he didn't hardly made a three all series before that. Staying persistent, getting to the basket on another play where Portis falls.
I know, but this wasn't Giannis. Look, for everything that happened in the fourth quarter, this was not a.
Going in Giannis's like.
This was not a Giannis fourth quarter domination game.
Well, Giannis is keeping them there the whole time, even that third
I
quarter
understand
run,
that, but Giannis didn't put
7
them on their
straight.
back in the fourth quarter. He was pretty ordinary in the fourth quarter. He played fine. He's 3 for 6.
But it was all about his gravity, getting downhill, going to the basket again and again. That opened up opportunities for Bucks.
It wasn't. It was turnovers and offensive rebounds, and more than anything else, it was really. It was.
What were those offensive rebounds coming off of? Giannis's initial drives.
Self-inflicted stuff
Congrats
here.
on the miss, buddy. I mean, what, we're gonna give him credit for the misses now too?
Yeah, it's
Tatum misses. Tatum misses a lot too.
Unbelievable.
Would we be celebrating Tatum's misses if the Celtics had more
offensive? They were at the
rebounds?
basket and guys were grabbing offensive rebounds after them. Instead, the Celtics were shooting jump shots the whole fourth quarter.
I'm not giving Giannis credit for being defended well, missing a difficult shot, contested shot going to the basket, and nobody boxing out. I'm not doing that. It's different if you got 3 guys swarming him and that's going to leave bodies there. They're playing him straight up, which means it's one-on-one for the rebounding, which means the Celtics are failing to grab rebounds because they're not placing enough emphasis on it. They're just allowing guys to beat them to the ball. I'm not
their
giving.
Rebounder has a sore knee, and
again, I love Giannis, and he's a monster. And Horford had a really tough time with him today. Giannis put his head down, got to the basket, and Al couldn't keep him away. And when Grant got in, every time there was contact, the whistle blew. It was a tough game defending Giannis all game, but he didn't take the game away from the Celtics in the fourth quarter.
No, but he kept them within range. 7 straight.
7 turnovers for your boy Giannis tonight too. By the way, he was not.
Again, it's persistence, though, Jimmy. He didn't have a great game. They didn't have a great game. They should have lost this game. But he kept his head down. He kept attacking. They didn't fade even after the huge run in the first half that the Celtics had to make it a 13-point game, as well as the third quarter run that Brown went on there. Those were both opportunities for the Milwaukee to bow out and say, all right, we're going home. We'll get them in 6. And he just kept his head down, drew free throws, got baskets inside. I'm not giving him extra credit for missing shots, but again, it's the aggressiveness in there. When you miss inside, guys are collapsing, guys aren't boxing out, and a guy like Portis gets putbacks off those opportunities, and Lopez and everybody else who's free around those, Wes Matthews. This is kind of the game plan of the Bucks. Their half-court offense is terrible. I mean, they're not producing quality looks. Everything's on Giannis. And so they get aggressive, they get scrappy. Just talked to Bud post-game and said offensive rebounding was their big thing coming into this because they can't score in the half court. So everybody's chasing the offensive boards. Giannis is putting up a lot of shots. So even if he doesn't make them, there are opportunities for guys to get follows. We'll see it on the free throws too. That was like a key to their run last year because they weren't great in the half court last year either. So I think this kind of went as the Bucks envisioned it going. And I'm sure Udoka saw it too out of game 4.
You needed Rob tonight. I don't know
what are you gonna do on Rob?
But you needed Rob.
I don't know. I mean, look, if he's not ready, he's not ready. But I mean, again, this is where, as we said, whoop-de-doo, Tice had a good stint. That's great. That's as much as they were willing to play him. Again, that's why I compare Tice to Cantor at this point. Not that they have the same game, but you're surviving his minutes. And when you have a good stint like you got tonight, you're thrilled with it. But then you're terrified to put him into the game again. And they were terrified to put him in the second half because you're afraid of him regressing to the mean. One of the reasons you're getting killed on the offensive glass, you don't have Rob back there. And Rob hasn't been super effective. And right now it's, the lineups are a little weird when it's him and L out there together. But, which is different than it was.
For the sake of
boards without Rob was a disaster.
You're just too
Disaster.
strong.
Which means everyone else has to friggin' crash, which is why I get really annoyed when we talk about these empty calories, stats sometimes where Tatum gets like 11 rebounds and we're like, ooh, 11 rebounds. Great, that's fine. But why don't you do it when your team desperately needs rebounding, okay? And that's what you really need is crash the friggin' boards, guys. And I watched back that last play with Marcus on the thing. I don't know what Tatum was supposed to do, but what I will tell you is he was buried in the opposite corner with whatever defender was on him and he didn't move. Okay. So, I mean, I'm guessing he's waiting for a screen to come over at some point. I don't know what Marcus is. He's clearly waiting for a screener to get the ball at that point because there's no way. Otherwise, he took himself out of the play. He didn't move an inch. He sat there with Matthews in his jersey and he didn't move off that corner. So I don't know what type of action Marcus was expecting, but it was brutal. Yeah, it was brutal.
Bobby, were you trying to go? Because we kept you.
No, it was just a thunderstorm of robots.
Yeah, you might have if you come back, pick a better spot, but we might wrap the show before.
Well, Joe
Where's
Sway
Joe
is coming
Sway?
anyway. I'm very interested to hear what Ime said about the preparation for those kind of plays, the discussion of rebounding throughout. I don't know what kind of adjustments they made there because it became a real issue last game. They didn't get hurt by it. This game, they got nailed by it again and again. And so he came out a little cheery. The little bit that I did catch of, they're going to bounce back. It's going to feel even better in game 6. We're going to persist through this, but I just don't know how you beat Giannis twice in a row.
I just don't think it matters. I don't think home court matters. I don't think I don't think what game.
Well,
it
it'd be
is.
this series for them to go.
And I don't think,
and I
don't think the previous game matters. If the Celtics won tonight, I would think honestly, it's still a coin flip. Winning the series. I know the Bucks would have to win 2 straight. It's just every game is kind of a different game. And they're ugly.
I still got it going down to game 7 in the last minute. So maybe you make a play at the end of game 7.
They're ugly, and both the games are ugly, and both teams are making it very hard for the other team.
It's so dead even too,
and they're killing each other. It's very even, and both teams are having a difficult time separating. So, it's hard to figure out where it's going to go. But I don't think just because you lost tonight, it rules you out.
So are you still picking the Celtics?
I honestly have no clue.
Come on,
anymore.
give us a take, John.
Well,
you think I'm short on takes?
Well, I'm always surprised when you don't
is
have
that
one.
the beef?
I think the point is, Bobby, I don't think anybody knows. I mean, you can sit here and say, oh, there's no way this happens, there's no way that happens, or the series is over, or it's not.
Well, this is why we do a show. We don't.
The only thing we do know is kind of what John just said, is that every game is its own entity.
Yeah,
like
I agree with that. I think they can put this behind them quickly.
They've all been different, and I mean, I said it already in the show. I would not be surprised at all if the Celtics go and win in Milwaukee. We know that they can win there. They've been in just about every game except game 1. I mean, even though they were in it, they played pretty poorly. And tonight, this was one that got away. So, I mean, if they put it this way, if they don't come out with an attitude and they don't come out with the mentality that they want to make up for what they just gave away, then they don't deserve to move on to the next round. If they go down in 6, they don't deserve to go in the next round, because this is in my opinion, this was a series that they should win this series. So I still think that they have a chance to win, and I still think they should win. But if they don't, is anyone going to be surprised at this point, the way the series has gone so far? It's been back and forth. Now, if it comes to game 7 and all of a sudden Chris Middleton is back, well, shame on the Celtics for letting it get to a game 7, because they had their chances to put him away sooner than that, and they didn't. So
let's bring in Joe Sway, who is much calmer now.
Oh man, I thought you were gonna let Jimmy do the phone thing when he shows.
Where are you?
Well,
I took Sherrod's spot because it's everyone here at TD Garden is so mad.
Interrogation room.
Half the floor is already gone. All right, the court might be gone for good. Who knows? But we'll see. That's how mad these guys are. They're like, let's just get this thing over with and go home.
Oh man, I don't know if the city can handle a Bruins elimination game tomorrow after what we just witnessed tonight. But I guess.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's right. They're up against it too. Yeah.
Back-to-back elimination games.
Oof.
Yeah. Or you could get 2 L's, right? No, or 3 technically, right? If they come back in game 7 and then you get 3 L's at TD Garden. Both seasons. Both seasons are over, but anyways, yeah, not to get all gloomy on you guys.
Nobody wants that. Anyway,
I heard the tail. Yeah,
I
was gonna say. Yeah,
so are you gonna talk us off the ledge, or what are you gonna do here?
I'm probably gonna pour it on, but listen, I thought Jimmy nailed it at the end of what I heard what you were saying at the end before the calm read. It's like, where's the focus, right? I mean, where's the focus that we've seen from the Celtics, especially in game 4? You're down
a game ago,
coming out of a timeout. and you don't know the play, I'm really happy that Marcus let everyone know about that because he didn't have to, and I'm glad he did because
Oh,
it
he did
shows
have
just
to.
how unfocused this team was. Yeah, right. I mean, that's what he does, right? And it
So
worked the
what was
first
he
time when he called these
intimating?
guys
Who
out.
screwed it up? Everybody?
He straight up said Jalen. He was like, Jalen was supposed to come get the ball. No one else did. We have 0 timeouts. The clock's ticking. To avoid a 5-second violation, he approached the ball, had no idea Jrue Holiday was behind him. Said Jrue made a good play, no contact, nothing, and that was it. Game over. It's just inexcusable. In my opinion, it is inexcusable. So yeah, I'm trying to. I'm not gonna try to talk you guys off the ledge, man, because right now I'm really just piecing everything together, and I'm like, how could this have happened? Like that's quite a blunder to make in that spot. Game 5, you're on the verge of going down 3-2, and you're Jaylen Brown. I mean, listen, this is a marquee player here. You're one of the best players on this team. You have to at least show that initiative that you know what's going on. And for Marcus to say that, I can imagine it's frustration. It's just frustration all around. I mean, it's not the reason why they lost the game, but it's eye opening to hear something like that after this kind of loss. It's not good.
Sure.
So
I mean,
I don't know.
Ime's like, look, we played 3.5 quarters of excellent basketball, and at the end of the day, people can say what they want about the kind of rebounders that the Milwaukee Bucks have, but he said, listen, there's the 50-50 balls. There were plenty of those 50-50 plays that the Celtics could have grabbed if they truly wanted it, but the Bucks, man, they just snatched it from them. They did it in a hurry. Man. That's what happens when you let a team come up, collect stops towards the end of the game, back-to-back threes from Giannis and Portis, and all of a sudden it was a tie game. And I just felt like the Celtics were just shook. Lack of a better word, they were shook.
I've watched.
They were scared.
I've watched that final play a ton. I couldn't quite tell because Jalen just didn't do anything. I don't know if a screen was supposed to go or he was supposed to flash to the ball. Tatum looked
Maybe
like
he missed that part.
Tatum looked like he was possibly waiting for a screen or over in the corner. He just stayed. He was a zillion feet away from the action, pinned at the 3-point line with Wesley Matthews in his shirt, and he didn't move once. Jalen just kind of sat there like this and didn't flash towards the ball. Maybe he was supposed to get it high.
Part.
And
Maybe
then Marcus
was a timeout. I don't know what.
Marcus just went. But Jalen didn't do anything. I don't know if he was waiting for someone to set a screen for him or something. It just looked. He just didn't do anything. It was weird. I've watched
Marcus
it.
He was supposed to collect that inbound pass.
I've watched it a zillion times, and I don't know if, like I said, I don't know if he was expecting someone to come for him or what.
Yeah, I mean that would be my guess if he was just standing there, but
he just stood there. He was at the free throw line, and he had Holiday on him, and I think he thought Marcus was going to spring him with a screen or something. He didn't, and it didn't happen. So I'm curious, somewhat Jalen's version of events, because
me too.
Then Marcus
Jason's
just
on the podium right now, but we'll see.
Yeah, then Marcus just took off to the corner there, got the ball, and then just turned and went. So I don't know.
Sorry. I just read a comment. Someone goes, "Yes, it's JB's fault." Look, we're not making this stuff up, man. I'm not missing.
I didn't say it. Marcus said it. I'm actually curious. Jalen looked like he was waiting
from the starting point guard himself. All right, so
the starting point guard that had one assist tonight.
Yeah. I just feel like the Celtics just. I mean, it almost looked like what the Celtics did with the Bucks, right? The Bucks let the Celtics hang around in Game 3, and then they stole it at the end. Sort of the same thing that happened here, but I just felt like we didn't see that aggressiveness in the last 4 or 5 minutes on the defensive end, and rebounding has a lot to do with that. I feel like after the Al Horford putback, they kind of felt they kind of settled down a little bit, and then you look at the box score. I couldn't believe my eyes. They didn't attempt a single 3-pointer in that fourth quarter. Look, I know we wanted them to dial it down a bit from 3, but this isn't what I expected, right? I mean, I just think they put themselves in a tough spot. They made it interesting in that fourth quarter, pretty much all the way through until, again, when Al got that dunk, that putback dunk, they built a 2-possession game. But in basketball, all you need is a stop and 2 3-pointers, and you're right back in. And that's exactly what the Bucks did.
Celtics didn't take a 3 in the fourth. Is that what you just said?
They didn't take a single 3-pointer in the fourth quarter.
That can't be true.
I'm glad they didn't, because they shot well from 2. The 3 was killing them all game.
Yeah, but make the defense guess a little bit there, John. You know what I mean? Like, especially when
it wasn't the shot.
Rebound.
It was just how slow they played, man. I would rather them get shots closer to the rim. What happened was Milwaukee. Actually, I thought this was a good thing, at least in the beginning of the quarter.
You'd rather score 2 points than 3 points?
Milwaukee went small.
Boomer take. No.
I'd rather shoot 50. I'd rather shoot 60% from 2 than 30.
played the game.
Okay, let's do the math. I'd rather do 60% from 2 than 30%
If
from
Larry
3.
Bird didn't need it, then now I sound like Nick.
The math doesn't work
John
that
would
way,
rather
guys.
get the extra point than go for the 2-point conversion.
Your math doesn't work, okay? They shot 60% from 2. And again, what happened was the Bucks went small, and that friggin' and on their screens and the drop coverage, there was nobody there to contest. They had those elbow jumpers all game if they wanted them. Like Jalen hit a couple of of long twos, as the kids like to call them. Tatum hit a couple. Those are good shots for those guys when they can rise up and have a clean look at the basket. I'd rather them doing that than falling off balance towards the hoop, out of control, through the trees, or just jacking threes all game long. Those were quality shots. They just went too friggin' slow. They just walked the ball up the floor, and that killed them.
They look like the Bucks, man.
They looked like they were protecting a
Bucks
25-point lead and running the clock.
Exactly. I'm like, listen, this is a single digit lead, if that. It felt like every time it went to a 8 or 9 point game, it would go right back down to 6 or 7. I'm like, that's dangerous. That's dangerous against this team.
I know Bobby left to go to the Bobby Portis press conference. He's doubling down on it. He just tweeted, Portis on feeling of final shot.
Wow, he skipped out on Tatum. Wow,
he goes, Portis on feeling of final shot. I just want to win. So that's the content that we're getting from Bobby Portis right now.
Let me find out Bobby's trying to get a Bucks gig.
Why Bobby left.
He's trying to get a Bucks gig.
Bobby's like, I got to get in there and get right.
You know how Bobby swings one way or the other. So after this L, he's like, this thing is over. I need to.
He said that. Yeah, he's gonna be
He said that. He said the series is over.
Definitively. Small sample sizes. Bobby friggin' Manning.
He's ready for the clubs.
That's the new nickname.
Milwaukee. He's ready for the clubs in Milwaukee on Friday night, Joe. So he's gonna have his Michael Red jersey. He's gonna have like a throwback jersey.
with the old school Buck logo with the guy on the ball.
Exactly. Yeah. You might have a Ray Allen jersey lying around or something.
The Bucks obviously could very well win this, but I don't think this thing's over. I really don't. It's gonna go 7. And game 7 is game 7, So
if you've watched this series, so if you've actually watched this series from game 1 to game 5, I don't know how you could sit here and see the series is over. Every game has been competitive. Every outcome has been it's been back and forth each way. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say the Celtics have the Bucks right where they want them. Of course not. They blew this one tonight. They had opportunity after they had a chance to put them away in Milwaukee, and they blew it.